Some people quietly dread the question, so what are you doing for your birthday? Not because they are sad, not because no one cares, but because the honest answer is nothing. And that answer somehow makes other people uncomfortable. If that has ever been you, there is more going on beneath that than you might think. Here is something most people completely overlook. The way a person relates to their own birthday is actually a window into how they have constructed their sense of self. It is not about being modest or limited. It is about where, psychologically, their identity lives. For some people, identity is built from the outside in. Birthdays become proof of love, proof of relevance, proof that you occupy space in other people's lives. The massages, the plans, the attention, they are not just nice to have. They are quietly necessary. And there is nothing wrong with that. It is deeply human. But for others, the self was built differently. Somewhere along the way, they stopped needing the annual ritual of being acknowledged. Their sense of who they are does not require an audience. Psychologists would describe this as having a strongly internalized self-concept, a kind of identity that runs on its own fuel, not on applause or recognition. These people are not cold. They're just quietly complete in a way that does not translate well to party planning. Now, here's where it gets interesting. People who feel indifferent toward their birthday often have a fundamentally different relationship with time itself. Most of us mentally organize our lives into chapters, and birthdays are the page breaks. They signal that something should be different now. That growth should feel visible, that another year demands some kind of accounting. But some people experience time less like a staircase and more like a river. Continuous, unmarked. One day flowing into the next without arbitrary ceremony. To them, the idea that this particular Wednesday carries more weight than last Wednesday simply does not register emotionally. It is not avoidance. It is a genuinely different internal architecture. Interestingly, this kind of time perception is often linked to people who find meaning in slow, consistent progress rather than milestone moments. They are not waiting for the year mark to reflect. They are already reflecting quietly on a Tuesday afternoon in October. There is one more layer to this. Birthdays are socially complex events. Someone has to be the center of attention. Someone has to perform gratitude convincingly for every gift. Someone has to hold the energy of a room, manage expectations, and make sure everyone else is having a good time at their own celebration. For people who are highly attuned to social energy, that is not a party, that is a home. This is not shyness. It is something closer to what researchers call social efficiency, a careful, almost instinctive filtering of which interactions are worth the emotional investment. These people are not withdrawing from connection. They are protecting it. They would rather have one real conversation than 20 performative ones, even if those 20 come with balloons and cake. So if you have ever quietly let your birthday pass without fanfare and felt vaguely strange about not minding, consider this. You might simply be someone whose identity does not depend on being witnessed to feel real. Someone whose sense of time resists the pressure to perform growth on a schedule. Someone who has, perhaps without realizing it, drawn a quiet boundary around how they spend their emotional energy. That is not a flaw in your wiring. It might actually be a form of self-knowledge. Most people spend years trying to find